Okay, so now we're to protest 2, which is the next 7 questions on this worksheet. And they seem like pretty basic questions for the silent sentinels. If you look here at the very first picture, let me close this right here. Okay, you're looking at the first picture. This is right outside the White House. If you've ever been at the White House before, you'll see these big columns. You can see where my mouse is right here, and these ladies are standing outside. Notice their sashes. Those sashes, blah 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 blah, would be purple, yellow, and white there. Mr. President, how long must women wait for liberty? Mr. President, you say liberty is the fundamental demand of the human spirit. So these women are going to be standing outside the White House for a very long time. Not the exact same women; they take shifts, but there were women standing out there silently protesting to get the right to vote. So this is January 10th, 1917. This is the National Women's Party right here in front of the White House. So, Mr. President, how long must women wait for liberty? And you'll notice that their sashes come from all the different colleges. So it's college day. Yes, sweetie? Can you glue that? Yep, sure. You can glue that. Okay, so here are protesters from New York. And you can flip through these on your own. Kaiser Wilson right here is giving a reference to the Kaiser from World War I, the bad guy. So calling him a Kaiser from Germany is a slight to President Wilson here. Have you forgotten your sympathy with the poor Germans because they were not self-governed? 20 million American women are not self-governed. Take the beam out of your own eye. So telling him he's kind of being a hypocrite by not letting women vote when he's saying that there are these poor Germans across the pond that get to vote. This other woman here, photograph of suffragists reacting to the imprisonment of other suffragists. So they arrested lots of these women that stood out there as criminals. And we'll see a little bit more of that in a second. Here's a famous picture. So yet again, look at the banners up here. These would all be yellow, purple, and white banners. The colors of the suffrage movement. And also notice that they didn't just do this during the nice warm summer months. Look at these ladies standing out there in the snow in front of the White House. Having a fire burning right there. And of course, you can flip through these on your own on that PDF. Here, they're getting arrested outside of the White House. And here is Lucy Burns actually in jail, and some of the other suffragists that are going to go to jail over this. And there's a hunger strike in jail. These suffragists refuse to eat, and it's going to end up being that they force feed these women in jail. So when you guys are watching the video on women's suffrage, and you see the woman in a straitjacket and they're trying to put water in her mouth, that's the reason they're doing that. It's not because it's just kind of a crazy thing to do during the video. It's they actually tied these women up and force fed them because they were going on hunger strikes over suffrage. This woman, Helena Hill Weed, is serving a 3-day sentence for carrying a banner that says governments derive their powers from the consent of the governed. That's straight out of the Declaration of Independence, and she's arrested for carrying that banner that said that. Ellie, get off this table.
But I don't know if this is mine.
Okay, the last few things here on the protest 2 is, let me make sure this is still going up here. Yep, we're still going. Okay, so the last parts of this is Alice Paul here, the one that's going to be depicted in the video I'm going to post later. I resort to the hunger strike method twice. When the forcible feeding was ordered, I was taken from my bed, carried to another room, and forced into a chair, bound with sheets and sat upon bodily by a fat murderer whose duty it was to keep me still. Then the prison doctor, assisted by 2 women attendants, placed a rubber tube up my nostril and pumped liquid food into my stomach. Twice a day for a month. From November 1st to December 1st, this was done. So Alice Paul there explaining what prison was like. The second one, Rose Winslow, 1920, the year that they actually did get the amendment. If this thing is necessary, we will naturally go through with it. Force is a stupid weapon. I feel so happy doing my bit for decency, for our war, which is, after all, real and fundamental. Alice Paul is as thin as ever, pale, enlarged eye. We have been in solitary for 5 weeks. There is nothing to tell but that the days go by somehow. I have felt quite feeble the last few days, faint, so that I could hardly get my hair brushed. My arms ache so, but today I am well again. Alice Paul and I talk back and forth, though we are not at opposite ends of the building, and a hall also shuts us apart, but occasionally thrills. We escape from behind our iron-barred doors and visit great laughter and rejoicing. And I'll let you go ahead and read the rest of that yourself. But keep in mind that these ladies are arrested for protesting women's suffrage. In history, 100 years later, we're like, oh yeah, the women got the right to vote, 1920. So not a big deal. But it really is a big deal that these ladies went through all this violence to gain this right for the women today. And then the last part here is from the evening of November 14th until the early hours of the morning of November 15th. The women endured what was later called the Night of Terror. Lewis and more than 30 other women were subjected to brutality at the hands of prison guards. They were kicked, dragged, choked, and subjected to beatings. And other complete violence. And I'll let you guys read about that through here with the force feedings and the beatings and everything like that. So take a look at this and the Silent Sentinels. So we have the Women's Suffrage Parade, which was Protest 1, and Protest 2 are Silent Sentinels. And after you do yesterday's reading, and then these pictures, I think you guys have a great understanding of women's suffrage. And I'll go ahead and post that video that I've talked so much about recently. And we're going to stop this. What you doing over there?
I'm making a book.
Okay.
And I'm making a picture book.
Okay.
Do I see it?
Yeah. Give me a second. I'm trying to end my video. I'm hoping that it even... Yeah. It was going. Okay, hang on. There we go.